I'm just a wanderer in search of my You can call me worshipper, you can call me follower, but I'm just a wanderer in search of my lover. You can call me worshipper, you can call me follower, but I'm just a wanderer in search of my
blessing upon you all, and we should just recite two nafal of shukr and praise and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessing. Again, time is critical before we sort of race towards iftari. There's just a few things I just want to go through. Some of you have already received the conditions of the itikaf before you came here, and majority, or if not all of you, should have accepted and agreed to those conditions. And I just want to just quickly, very briefly, go through some of those just as a reminder for myself and for yourselves. And first and foremost, when you've come here now, we need to really lock off the dunya and leave it outside. I know it's hard, and some of us have left work and businesses outside and before we've come here today, but it's a sacrifice that we have to make in order for you and I to achieve the maximum benefit of this itikaf. Is if we can cut down on the distractions of the outside world, and that's one of the reasons why we recommend that you switch your phone off completely. Ideally, some of you may have left them at homes, and if you have brought them with you, then you can hand them in to the admin team, who will give them back to you at the end of the day at a certain time, so you can check your messages if you feel that you have to. Otherwise, try and keep these locked away, put away safely. We've got a safe here that brothers can put them away for you safely, rather than you saying we'll leave them downstairs in your bag, and just in case they go missing, then we, the committee, the admin team in this masjid, does not want to be held responsible for any valuables that you lose. So any valuables that you have, like your phone, you can hand them in. So again, one should take this very, very seriously. You've come here to learn the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is not a place just for you to come and chill out and have a little bit of a free time away from the wife. This is a serious place of learning, and take this opportunity very, very seriously. There will be some opportunity to do personal worship in ibadat, but what you have to remember is for majority of the sessions here are collective sessions, so we'll be doing them together. So it does actually leave very little time for personal worship, and if there is some time, then by all means do. But we have actually this time round a very, very jam-packed schedule for you. And I say on many itikaf, this is like a spiritual Navy SEAL training camp, a proper boot camp where a lot of you will really feel it. There's going to be times when you feel that you're tired, your legs are hurting, you're deprived of sleep, obviously you're fasting on top of that. But in order to really benefit from this itikaf, you're going to have to endure some pain, so have to make some sacrifices. So again, we haven't come here for a holiday. This is to learn the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One should, again, up until this retreat and now, one should try and refrain from sins of all the bodily sins. Any gadgetry I've already mentioned, please put away for safekeeping. And you don't need to record the bayans or for the audio or for the video, because every single session is going to be recorded and uploaded on the Tariqa Muhammadiyya YouTube channel. So even afterwards, when you go away from here, you can listen to them again at your own leisure as many times as you want. And that also takes the pressure away of having to make notes all the time, because sometimes people get distracted when they're busy making notes. They lose focus on what is actually being said. So again, the brothers and the media team here have made it so easy for us that we come, we just basically engage with the speaker with all our senses, and we don't have to worry about making notes. Yes, if there's a very important note you want to make, do take it down, but no, it's not like a lecture where you're constantly taking notes, because as I said, the whole bayans and the sessions, every session will be uploaded for you to be able to see later on. A reminder also for all the brothers who have come and have not registered, please register with the brothers. For health and safety reasons, we need to know who is in the masjid. So that is one aspect of it. And also make sure you pay the relevant monies, the £120 if you're here for the full 10 days. And if you're here for a shorter amount of time, there's an equivalent amount, I think it's £15 a day. £15 a day. And again, this goes towards the meals, the cost of running this masjid whilst you're here, all the hot water we're going to be using, the lighting we are using. So again, every year we have an issue that we spend more than we actually collect from the brothers. So, and sometimes people come and they go and forget to pay. Happens. But that's why I have to remind you constantly, please do not forget to pay. It's not fair on the management and the admin team here that you've come, you've used the resources here, and especially you've had food cooked for you, prepared for you, served to you, and you've not partaked in the benefit, the blessings by paying towards it. Please note that again, as I mentioned, we have a jam-packed schedule, and there's a majority of the sessions will be practical sessions. So for that, you need to be fully awake, fully alert. So when we give you rest time, do rest. What we find from previous experiences that when we break up and it's rest time, people are either on their phone or too busy chatting to each other, or just killing time. And then during the day when the sessions are starting, they are very, very tired. So be very mindful of that. So in order to benefit from the sessions, make sure you rest sufficiently. And this is not sessions just based on lectures and theory. You will be outlined theories, but most importantly, for those of you who've been here before will know, and those of you who are here for the first time, these sessions consist of a lot of practical sessions. So again, it's most important that you stay fresh and awake and be prepared mentally for them, because if you haven't rested sufficiently, you'll find that you'll be so tired that you will not be able to follow the teacher in the practical session. So that's just an overview that I've done of some of the conditions which most of you should have accepted by now. I'm going to hand over to Brother Gulfam, who's going to go through some of the important house rules now.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and our Master and our Mashaykh, alhamdulillah, for everything. These endless blessings they are bestowing upon us. And obviously we thank all the management and the people who have been actually working hard to make this Iteekaf as comfortable as possible for your participants, inshallah. So I'll first start with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all the brothers, mashallah. So we can quickly get into things. I will just take a burden off your minds, because I think the phones were affecting people's minds, when Brother Zafar said we're going to probably take them off you. So alhamdulillah, some people have actually volunteered to give their phones because they want to disconnect themselves. That's good and well. So We're not going to force you to hand over your phones. Alhamdulillah, those who want to, they can, inshallah. But the only thing we request is that you safe keep them. If you want to hand them in, it's even better. But try to keep them with you at all times. We do provide this facility for you for charging. So you stick one of your phones in there. So there'll be one in the center of the hall here and one upstairs. But like I said, try to charge it at a specific time, which you'll be given, say for everyone, just before everybody's resting. But definitely throughout the sessions, we don't really want to see any phones coming out, totally switched off, silent, or definitely not on vibrate as well, inshallah.
Is there a charge for this charging station?
Inshallah, we'll see how it goes in it, inshallah. There might be a charge for those who actually phones vibrate during the session. So bear that in mind, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, we'll try our best to keep our phones out of sight, inshallah, especially for the session. There'll be uncertain times when you have break and things, you can, if you need to call your families for urgent matters, inshallah, you can do so, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, that's, and apart from that, alhamdulillah, as we've got, mashallah, different guests from all over the world, you could say, alhamdulillah, guests from Morocco, our Honorable Professor Saab and Dr. Saab, and even Brother Abdul Mamin, even from Canada and other countries, alhamdulillah. So obviously we have certain special facilities for them to make it more comfortable. So the area in the basement, this is specific for certain guests. So we'll appreciate that the brothers do give them that privacy. There's sufficient wuzu facilities, toilet facilities just behind that door. Inshallah, Ustad Qais will inshallah explain later about the boundaries, what you need to have in your minds. And then obviously there's the facilities at the bottom of the stairs as well. But kindly, the facilities downstairs for the wuzu and toilets, these are just for our guests, so we'd kindly appreciate if you would give them that privacy. The only reason you'll need to go downstairs is when you need to take your bedding down and when you need to bring it back up, inshallah. The other thing is, if you have any valuables, then it's advised to hand them in. If not, please don't leave them in your bags. Don't leave them in your pockets when you're going to wuzu and things like that. Keep them with you all times, because the management can't accept any responsibility for anything going missing. So we do advise you, don't leave even when your phones are being charged, there's other sockets as well. Leave them charged while you're present, inshallah. So don't leave anything unattended, because if anything goes missing, because we have obviously people coming in at the Tarawih general public, and it's better to not put people into situations by leaving things around. Alhamdulillah, most of the sessions will take place in this main Jamaat Khan. And obviously there's certain etiquettes for this area, because this is the main prayer hall. The most important being especially closer to the prayer time, because obviously throughout the Iteekaf you'll be taught certain muraqabahs, and for certain muraqabahs you need certain level of concentration, and this will be also specially implemented at the time just before Salah. So it's appreciated, because people are praying Nawafil. So, somebody just gets disturbed by the guy coughing next to him. Yet, what to say when people are talking and disturbing? So, as much as you can in this Jamaat Khana, if there's no need to talk, then please, it's better. Especially at the Salah time, there should be total silence. If you need to speak, you can go into the corridors and things, inshallah. Apart from that, inshallah, as there will be many presentations, when we sit for the sessions, it's important that you can see the screens, inshallah. So sit in such a place, in such a manner, inshallah, where you can see the screens. And inshallah, the toilets and the shower facilities will show you as well on the way up when you're going for iftar. And secondly, in regards to the actually prayer area, because our teacher, Sheikh Ahmed Tabag, Hafizullah, they will be leading most of the prayers. So it's very important that we make it as comfortable as possible for them when they're leaving and they're entering the prayer hall. So we kindly request to leave an area here available for at least 2-3 people, and especially the walkway, so nobody's sitting in the way, so it's easy for them to leave after the Salah, inshallah, and while they coming into the masjid. The other thing, as you see, mashallah, the blessed picture Mubarak, that will stay open throughout the retreat, the Iteekaf. We'll only close it at resting time, Fajr, and inshallah reopen it against Zohr. But we'll request not to lean against it, not to hang your coats or jackets onto the pillars and things. And similarly, with the blessed Mimbar Mubarak, try not to leave your books or coats and things. I've seen some people, they even leave their socks there sometimes, so try to avoid that, inshallah. And similarly with this table, because this acts as a mimbar as well, so try not to place anything that are not needed to be on there, inshallah. In terms of sleeping allocations, inshallah, we'll allocate that and you'll be directed at the time of rest, which will be after Fajr, inshallah. We'll mention which brothers need to go upstairs and which brothers need to rest in this main area, inshallah. So that'll be mentioned at a certain time. In terms of food, alhamdulillah, we'll try our best. Mashallah, our brothers have been cooking most of the day because we're cooking ourselves, alhamdulillah. We'll try to make it as good as possible for you. If there's any special dietary requirements, inshallah, you can mention to Brother Zafar or myself, or also certain brothers who will be assigned for you specifically for your khidmat, inshallah. If there's any dietary needs, any medication you need, anything, you have any issues or problems, then you can mention it to us first, inshallah, or specifically those brothers who will be assigned to you. And if they can't assist you, then you can mention to any of us, inshallah. Like I said, when you go to rest, bring your bedding, and once you're awake just before Zohr, then place your bedding back in the area downstairs, inshallah. So everything is ready for then, inshallah. Obviously, there'll be certain things that will be given to you, like these files at a certain time, and also a special gift from the teacher, which will be a book comprising of the different muraqabahs that are going to be taught throughout the Iteekaf. So it's very important you actually give value to these kind of things, inshallah. So we don't really want to see any books lying in the plant pots or on the shelves or anything like that. Once you've used it, inshallah, you can put it back in your bag, and we should have consideration for these things. And lastly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah protect us. If for any reason we have to leave the masjid, for any reason, whether it's fire or anything, emergency, this is the most important thing, why we're asking everybody to register, so we know who's actually present in the masjid. Because if we have to evacuate and your name's not on the list and you're not out there, then you might be in the masjid and Tiki, you might get shahadat. Alhamdulillah, that's a good thing. But really, we'd like you to go and see your kids at Eid as well, inshallah. So please, inshallah, if there's any reason, you'll be directed mainly to the main car park outside where we'll gather, inshallah, and then, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that happening, inshallah. So that's basically it. Now, Brother Zafar, you can introduce Ustad Qais or any of the other Ustads.
Can I just have a quick show of hands? Who is sitting this Iteekaf for the very first time? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good, mashallah. And full 10 days? Yeah, mashallah. Okay, good. Just gives you an indication of how much new brothers we have. For the new brothers, again, this is Brother Gulfam. My name is Brother Zafar. So if there's any concerns, any issues, please don't hesitate to let us know. We'll be around all the time. We're here doing the full 10 days. And also, I'd like to introduce Brother Shafiq, who's sitting there. If you can raise your hand, Brother Shafiq.
Actually, you can come forward.
Yeah. Brother Shafiq.
I'm just holding the mic for him until he comes here. All yours.
Jazakallah. I've been absent for the past 2 or 3 years for the simple reason that I've been going to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Otherwise, I'm usually here. And Brother Zafar has been doing the stage secretary. So inshallah, this year I will be helping him as well. Jazakallah.
I'll be helping you, I think. Okay. Jazakallah. What I would like to do is, without further ado, go into the main program now. And just to, what I'd like people to do is, I think everyone's spread out too further back. So the brothers there who are just blocking that doorway, if you can just come a bit more further to the front, please. Don't be shy.
Everybody get up.
Yeah. The closer you get, the more fares that you get.
The other thing is you better get used to this, because this is what we will be doing with every gathering. It is not just for any other reason. It's the sunnah of the Sahaba Ajma'in when they used to sit. They used to always sit in a nice semicircle. So please come forward, because what will happen is as the Maghrib time comes, there'll be more and more people arriving. So then it doesn't disturb the gathering as well. So please come forward as much as you can in a nice semicircle. Keep coming.
And if you can remember to do that in all the sessions, please.
Yeah. And we'll remind you through each session as well, inshallah.
Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Ustad Qais, who's going to go leading the first session for...
So Ustad Sha'ala, Ustad Majid, Ustad Sajid.
So I just want to quickly introduce the Ustads. Brother Shafiq, if you want to do that.
Alhamdulillah, these are the Ustads that you will get to know pretty well.
Where's the presentation?
Ustad Sha'alam, most of you already know them because they live local. Alhamdulillah, and they do the healing sessions as well. Alhamdulillah. And then we got Professor Muhammad from Fez as well. They are a regular here at the Iteekafs. But I was just thinking the other day, I remember the first time I ever saw them going to Fez, and we were invited to the same gathering, and they were there. Alhamdulillah. Then we got Ustad Majid. Most of you are aware of them. They're an old brother as well. We've been with us for many, many years. And then there's Ustad Majid from Woking. These brothers are from down south. And this is Professor Ashfaq. They're from Canada. Alhamdulillah. When we went, and then on the last day, we heard that there was a brother who wanted to meet Hazrat Sahib, and it was Brother Ashfaq from Canada. That was the first time I saw them as well, inshallah. And they're a regular as well, inshallah. So these are the Ustads, and then most of you are aware of Ustad Qais as well. So alhamdulillah, then I will leave it in their capable hands.
Okay. Just stay there. These are not ordinary teachers, by the way. As you can hear by the title, professor, doctor, etc. These are two professors there, one doctor, another who's a barrister as well. These are not ordinary people, but what is exemplifying to me and you is that you can have deen and dunya and also be the pivotal point of the climax of education and be the forefront of education, but also be able to serve the deen as well. And that is an example for you, for us, for me and you really. That you can, it doesn't mean that just because you come to learn the deen or you start practicing the deen, that dunya goes as well. These are professors, these are doctors, these are many of the asatidas who are actually here as well, who were not present. You'll see that they have all facets of life, and that's an example for me and you that we can actually admire and actually reach up to as well. Okay, so they're not ordinary people. And these are your senior most ustads, there are my seniors as well. So we should try to be attentive to whatever they say, and also have an open heart and open mind, and not be prejudiced, but also have an open heart and open mind, and try to benefit, ask Allah to benefit you from their presence and whatever words they utter. But ultimately, these are all under the stewardship of whom? Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh. That's our teacher, and that's our guide, our teacher, and through them that we've actually learned whatever we learned, and we try to actually deficiency in whatever we say, but through their barakah and blessing that we actually will deliver whatever we know from what they've taught us. Okay, Jazakallah khairan jazak. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, as-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, you've sat here for a while now, so I don't really want to take much of your time, but you've learned and you've gone through the house rules. Now you need to know a little bit of what is itikaf, what it entails, the things that you shouldn't do, what the Sharia says, the fiqh masalas, some elements of the fiqh masalas you need to be aware of, and that's about it really. But also how we can actually maximize our time while we're sitting in this itikaf. So first of all, what I like to do is get through the rulings first, because this is the stuff that you need to quickly get into your head, which most of you will be aware of. Those of you who are new, it'll be the first time you're hearing this. Hopefully it won't be too daunting. I'll keep it as simple as possible. I won't go through the definition. of Iteekaf. Have we got it on? Yeah. I won't go with the definitions. To remain in a mosque, in a congregation where prayers are held in the Iteekaf. Don't worry about that. Conditions as well: to be a Muslim, to be sane, to be in purity, free of major impurities, and to make the intention. And that's important. You need to make intention. So before the Maghrib Salah enters, as soon as the Maghrib Salah enters, really make the intention. If you're going to forget, the intention now is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intend to perform the Sunnah Iteekaf for your pleasure, for your sake, for the 10 days, and that's it. Make the intention. That is important. We had a show of hands of those who are doing Nafil. So can I have a show of hands doing Nafil? Okay, it's just a few. And the rest is, I assume, by assumption, is that you're all 10 days, aren't you? Yeah. So hopefully, because Sunnat Iteekaf is that there are certain things that you have to make sure that if it breaks, then unfortunately it may be the fact that you have to actually make up maybe 1 or 2 or maybe even 10 days after the Ramadan's finished. So be careful. So make intention. So what I suggest that you do is make intention now, otherwise you might forget. Various reading regarding Iteekaf it's not necessary for. This is one misconception that if you go to the masjids and masajids that you'll hear, is that people have got their own cubicles, they get their own tents, and it's silence. There's no interaction whatsoever. There's no talking. They go in the cubicle, they come out, and that is. I want you to actually debunk that myth completely. Okay, just debunk that. Mean that completely. Actually, get it in your head is that. No, rather, it's makruh karaha, dislike to do so. Speak good, do tasbih, converse, teach, encourage one another. Yes, there's one element is over talking about worldly matters. Don't talk about your business. No, don't talk about your families. That's it. In the story. What you should be doing is asking and encouraging how we can become better. And one thing that the other day, I think we came last week. The other day we came, and brothers were saying they're not interacting. I don't know. Allah Ta'ala knows better. If you're gonna interact, if you do interact with one another, yes, make each other happy and joyful. Yes, it should be. It shouldn't be so laborious and boring. But try to see if is there any way that I can be of benefit to a brother and vice versa. In terms of maybe whoever's here, maybe you have the intention that I want to be steadfast on my prayer. Maybe some of you are here that I want to be steadfast on my recitation of the Quran. Some of you might be here making intention that I want to have a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to make my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strong. Some of you might be saying that I want to be able to actually get away from the dunya. Some of you might be saying I want to be able to actually be in good place and good environment and so on. Different intention, different motives each one of us have. But maybe we have the same motive. And then if that's the case, we can then be an encouragement for one another. Help one another. And that's where you say. So there are pitfalls that you fall on and there are pitfalls that the other person falls on. Maybe you can help one another. And that's what we are here for as teachers, as your brothers. Okay? As your brothers, I don't like the word teacher here really. I'm a brother. As your brother, is that this is what you can come and ask me and say how we can help, how I can help. I'll do my best. I may be suffering the same problem as you are, but I'll try my best to actually help you in whatever way we can. And that's how your interaction should be. It should be one of those where we can benefit one another, having a cup of tea, and instead of talking about football and instead of talking about other things, talk about this. That'll be a better way to converse. So yeah, talk good ways. It is recommended during the Iteekaf to perform the Amal's mentioned booklet. Now you'll be thinking, what is a booklet? We have this leaflet here, which is in the pack, which I was hoping that they would hand it out beforehand, but maybe we can do it a little bit later. In this leaflet, you'll get one of these where it'll outline again what I'm going to be saying about the rules and regulations of Iteekaf, and then some Amals and performance of Amals that you're supposed to do when you have time. So when you got 1 hour or 2 hours there, there's some ibadat and worship that you can do which will help you to maximize the benefit of Iteekaf whilst you're sat here. So some people, what happens is that they think, oh, I have a plan that I have to make sure I finish the khatam of the Quran, the whole Quran. So what they'll do is they resort to recite the Quran. Khair is good. Recite the Quran is good. But you can also do that after Ramadan. days of Iteekaf is only 10 days. And there are specific deeds and performance and awrad and azkar that you can do because of the nisbah of Iteekaf, because of the link and association of Iteekaf, that you can actually benefit even further. And that is why we're saying is that try to actually make sure you consult, go through the amals, which is actually listed here, which we haven't got time because of the shortage of time, which inshallah in the one-to-one basis, if we've got time, we'll try and actually tell you, is try and perform this whenever you can. When you're free, you've got an hour free, you wake up, you've woken up early, couldn't sleep, okay, do these. Busy yourself in doing that. Okay? So there should be nobody saying, I'm bored, in other words. I don't want to hear that. There should be nobody saying, I'm bored, because there'll definitely be something for you to do. If not, you'll be sleeping, one or the other. Okay? Because sleeping is also ibadah when you're fasting. Without a valid reason, if one leaves the mosque, even for a little while, intention, the itikaf will be broken. And he'll have to make a qada, repeat of that. So that is why you need to know the boundary. Now, simple, I'll tell you what the boundary is. So far, we'll physically demonstrate you, hopefully, when we go upstairs for eating, we will get, I need to assign a person. I think Uncle Iqbal is good at this one, very good. So Uncle Iqbal will demonstrate, everybody follow Uncle Iqbal. If you just stand up Uncle Iqbal, they can know who you are. There's Uncle Iqbal here, one of our senior members here, and one of our beloved uncles here. They do a lot of work for the deen as well. And at their age, not many people are doing what they're doing. At their age, people are probably in Pakistan resting and actually enjoying their monies and enjoying their wealth. But they're there actually trying to serve the deen at this age. I pray that Allah SWT enables me, if I live that long, to also be like, have the zeal that they have as well. Anyhow, they will demonstrate to us, physically show us where the boundaries are. The two boundaries is this, is that you know what the udhu khana is? Which if you go through those doors, double doors here, you're going to go through this single door. There are double doors which leads to the wudu area. That is one boundary, boundary one. And the second boundary is, as you came in, there's two glass doors at the front. When you come inside the masjid, that's the second boundary. And the third boundary is the door, single door there, which is just in front of the stairway, which you'll see. That's the third boundary. If you step out of those boundaries, if 1 foot step out of the boundary, without a valid reason, i.e. you didn't need to actually go to the toilet, and you're not going to pray namaz and you need to do wudu, and you just went there because you just want to see how good you look, how wonderful you look, or is okay, no, that will break it. Or you just want to just step out from fresh air, that will break it. And unfortunately then it may be the case that you have to repeat the whole, certain cases you'll have to repeat the whole 10 days again after Ramadan. Some cases will be just one. Okay, so be careful. Those are 3 boundaries. So if anything, if remember those boundaries. One wudu khana, entrance door and exit door. Second is a shower room, basically, shower and toilets as well, outside the stairways. Those are 3 boundaries you have to make sure you don't step out. And those of you who are downstairs, which you won't be there, hopefully apart from the teachers, there's a door that's also another boundary, but you don't need to worry about that area. So if one intends to observe the Sunnah Itikaf during the last 10 days or nights of Ramadan, he or she should be present in the mosque before sunset, which alhamdulillah we are here. People who are intended still, maybe they're on the way, they've got till sunset before Maghrib before they can actually approach. And they sit until the sight of the moon for Eid. If one is physically forced to leave during Itikaf, then his Itikaf will be invalidated. Somebody just chucks you and says, right, you get out. Or he has to go for other reasons, then unfortunately it'll be broken. If one leaves the mosque for a valid reason, but on the way he base is delayed. So this is in other words is that if those places where you have a different Jamaat area, or he has to go for Jummah at a different place. Unfortunately, they don't offer the Jummah in the mosque in the hall that they're staying in. So they have to now go on the way and offer the Jamaat in different, or they have to go to get their food. If they get delayed in there and they sidetrack and so for whatever reason, this will also invalidate the itikaf as well. But it doesn't apply to us really. One may only leave the mosque for the following valid reason: to go to the toilet, to relieve yourself. So as you go to the boundary, make intention, Allah, I'm going to relieve myself. Just make that intention that I'm going to relieve myself. to make wudu if one needs to. Now here is an important one, is that if you have wudu, and normally to do wudu is nurun ala nur, light upon light. Unfortunately here in your itikaf is that if you have wudu, then you shouldn't go to the wudu area to do another wudu. You shouldn't. If you have wudu, stay in the area, in the mosque, in the vicinity. If you don't have wudu, then obviously go and do your wudu and for whatever ibadah you're going to do. So make intention, Allah, I'm going out of this boundary, is that because I have to perform 2 rakat namaz, or a nafal, or I'm going to recite the Quran, or I'm going to do some dhikr, ibadat and worship. You can do that for that reason as well. Okay, you're allowed. Go and do your wudu. If ghusl become wajib upon you, necessary that you need to do ghusl, it's become wajib upon you, then one is allowed. And again, with regards to the ghusl, is that the odors, the sweat, we've been here, and that accumulates, and then you're starting to smell. This is bad now. And tuhuru shatr iman is that one of the signs of our iman is that it should be purity, cleanliness should be thinness. So this physical cleanliness, what you should do is that if it's the case that your odor has become overwhelming, it becomes sticky, your body is sticky, what you do is that you go to relieve yourself, and as you go in there, then you can just do shower quickly, pour water over yourself, rinse, clean your armpits, shower yourself quickly, and then come back out again. You can do that. So it shouldn't be the case where you're suffocating, because some people, I remember when we first did this, we were literally suffocating, thinking we're smelling. The other person staying away from one another. We're literally sweat and pasina is coming out, and we're thinking, what do? We can't do it. And that's when we realize, okay, we're allowed. Okay, we can do. Not that what you do is that you do the intention that I'm going for to relieve myself. As you're going to relieve yourself, then basically pour water over yourself. You want to use a quick shower, just quickly shower gel, and that's it, you're done. Everything done, just do it. But don't take all day about it. Start doing your nails and doing your beard, trimming your beard and doing other things. No, just quickly. Remember, it's the time of the essence. Quickly do your thing that you have to do, and then quickly come back again. And that goes to also Friday ghusl as well. You can do this as Friday ghusl as well. To get food, if there is no food provided, so this doesn't apply to us. Alhamdulillah, we have brothers serving us the food. We don't have to worry about that. This doesn't also apply. I'm going to skip this one. If one wants to go out to the boundaries of the mosque for any reason other than the valid reason that we mentioned to the points above, such as washing their mouth, such as brushing your teeth, or having an unnecessary shower. What unnecessary would be basically, you're perfectly fine, you just feel like you want to have a shower. You just want to have a shower, but there's nothing wrong with you. No sweat, nothing, you just want to have a shower. They will say that, listen, just unnecessarily don't go and have a shower. Unless you need to, it's become really sticky, you really feel uncomfortable, then you actually go. So it's a need, not a want. So brushing your teeth, sometimes you forgot, oh no, I have to brush my teeth. You can't just go outside the boundary just to brush your teeth. So there'll be facilities, hopefully, where the brothers will be washing their hands. There'll be a bucket there made available for you, brush your teeth there. I don't want to say go downstairs, so try to avoid going downstairs. Or if you are going to make wudu, is that you need to make wudu anyway, fresh wudu, because you've lost your wudu. As you go to the toilet, take your toothbrush with you, brush your teeth. Complete your task and then come back out again. Or some people want to go and do the amama, they want to do the turban. I said, that's not the place. Unless you're going to the toilet anyway, or you're going to fresh wudu anyway, then it's perfectly permissible for you to do that. So then what we're saying is that unnecessary for to have a shower, then it can be done when a person goes outside the band with the intention to perform the necessary action at the time, and he does the unnecessary action as well. For example, if a person needs to brush his teeth, then he waits until he needs to make wudu or needs to go to the toilet at the same time he brushes his teeth. That's what you do. You're not allowed to perform ghusl unless ghusl is wajib upon you. For any other needs, then please consult one of the scholars, which I've just told you. in other words, basically, which I've just repeating itself, is basically that you just need to pour water over you, and that's what we'll be fine. If you have a need, an urgency of need because you're feeling sticky, you can't do that. If one is not in a state of wudu and wishes to do wudu for the sake of wudu, then this is not permitted. I've already mentioned that. However, if a person makes intention of going to do ibadah which requires wudu, e.g. a nafil salah or recitation of the Quran, then there is no harm to do so. So those are the basic rules that you just need to bear in mind. Most important thing is about the boundaries and not stepping out the boundaries. That's the main thing that you need to actually keep in mind of. Nothing else really. That's the main thing, just keep in mind. And the other matters, inshallah, will actually follow. Now, virtues of itikaf is sufficient enough to say that the Prophet ﷺ used to sit at itikaf, and that we are mimicking that blessed sunnah. That's sufficient for us. That's sufficient. But one of the things is that he ﷺ also ordered us and the companions, what they do is that they sit at itikaf to achieve Laylatul Qadr. That's one of the reasons why we sit at itikaf. So this, for example, tonight is one of the odd nights. It's an odd night. People assume it's going to be the 27th night. I don't know, maybe somebody's given a message to them that this is it, it's 27th night. So all Huffaz, everywhere around the country, around the world, most of the places around the world, not in Saudi Arabia, but everywhere around the world, in the parts of the country, they're all trying to finish their hifz, the Khatam of the Quran on the 27th night, because somebody has given this guarantee that Laylatul Qadr is on the 27th night. I am telling you it's not. There's no such guarantee. That's why the Prophet said, seek Laylatul Qadr in the odd nights. Now there's also, when is an odd night? Some people started Ramadan on, let's say, on a Monday, and some people started on Tuesday. So for those brothers, it's an even night. For us, it's an odd night. So the safeguard that you have is that do ibadat these 10 nights. Whichever night it is. Spend it. Whether you can see, not see, hear, not hear. But this is an odd night. There's an odd night, and the strong indications being given is that on the odd nights of Laylatul Qadr. So in that pamphlet that you got is this sheet here, this booklet here, is actually telling you what are the things that you can do in this blessed night of Laylatul Qadr. Again, I don't really have time to go through it, but read it and then try, and if there's any question that you have, seek one of the ustaz, seek one of the brothers here, or seek one of the elders here. They'll explain it to you, like Uncle Iqbal and others, Ustaz Shafiq and others, they're here, they'll explain this to you in more detail, what this is about, okay? So seek one of them and they'll tell you more. The other virtue is that if, as you know, these years, to go to Hajj and Umrah is very expensive. £5,000 for Hajj, maybe more. This year probably 6. If you're trying to go as a family, 10, 15,000 pounds maybe, just to go for Umrah even. But the beauty of sitting 10 days of Iteekaf is that you receive the reward of performing 2 Hajj and 2 Umrahs. That's the reward. Without spending what? Nothing. The other beautiful thing is that the one who sits Iteekaf with firm conviction that it's a religious worship and hopes to receive rewards, then all your past sins will be forgiven. Your past minor sins will be forgiven. All the sighair that you had, all of them will be forgiven. So that's a virtue in itself. Now I'm going to tell you another aspect of itikaf that most of you are probably here for. And why we've said is that actually whilst you're sat here, try your best not to actually divulge in your phones. Try to put them away. Because all that's happening to you, that as you're sat here, is that although you're sat here, but are you really here? Listen to what I'm saying, is that you're sat here, but are you really here? Are you still thinking about your family? Are you still thinking about your job? Are you still thinking about your assignments? Are you thinking about your friends? Are you thinking about your comforts? Are you thinking about the games? Are you thinking about your children? Are you thinking about etc.? So all these different things that might be going through your head. So what I'm trying to say now is, you made the intention you're going to sit at the itikaf, completely get this out and chuck them in the bin now, all those things. Empty it and throw it out. As if they don't exist. You now, in order to really maximize your benefit now, imagine you come into a new world, a different world. Although it's a mosque, it's a world for us, this world. This is the world that we're going to be living in. These are the inhabitants that you're seeing now. These are your inhabitants. These are your brothers that you're going to be with in this world now. Imagine this is the microcosm, this is a small world now, and you've left the world now. The dunya you've left now. But to help us even more, to make sure that you realize you've left this world, the outside world, that's why you got these walls here. The walls are there. You're in prison now. You're in prison in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People are going in prison for other reasons. We are going into the prison, what? Not prison really, in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where His rahmah descends, where His blessing descends. In other words, is that it's not the prison, it's the paradise of light. The place of light, the place of rahmah, the place of love, the place of connection, the place of being. This is where we are now. Open your hearts to receive that. Open your minds to receive that. Close and take and empty away everything else and open your hearts and mind towards receiving those lights, receiving those blessings, receiving the love, receiving the connection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is what we're here now. This is where we are. In His house. And what are we? We are His guests. When guests come to you in your house, you will entertain them with whatever you have, the best of foods, the best of dishes, the best of plates. And we're sat in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do you expect? What do you expect? So seclude this physical example of the wall as you're seeing on the roof, that you're seeing, the boundary you're seeing, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that He wants me and you to also seclude our minds, our heart from the dunya. Seclude it. Your eyes away from the dunya, your ears away from the dunya, your hands away from the dunya. Your mind, your heart, completely now seclude yourself from that and be in what? In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's house. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence. Disconnect, because now we can't go, can we? We can't go out. The boundary's been set. We're not allowed to go out now. We cannot go. So now what we should be doing, Allah says that physically now you've made yourself here in my house. Now disconnect yourself now. Disconnect from the dunya and connect with me. Connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one of the indications we're getting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, that now He wants you to connect. And if you're telling me here in these 10 days, you're sat here, that you're struggling to connect, that is something wrong, you need help. You need to now throw away and disconnect from the dunya and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the world. But if you have your phone with you, it's a way in which your connection restarts again with the dunya. Phone call, email, messages, internet, WhatsApp. That's dunya now. It's all dunya. It's going to come back and can bite you. So likewise, we've physically brought ourselves, erected these walls. You need to now erect walls now in your mind, in your heart, in your eyes, your hands, your feet. Erect it. Stop the hands. Stop the eyes from looking at anything. Leave it. And really, really focus and immerse your heart and mind into the sessions that's going to be led. The different sessions that will be left by the different asatizas. And also whatever Shaykh Ahmad Dabba is going to be telling us and teaching us. Immerse your mind and heart into this. And then you'll see how much of a benefit is. That really what I'm saying now is that really when you go out of the 10 days, you should feel as though you were in a different world and you come back to another world. You should feel that. That's the experience you should be having. So this is one of the elements of Iteekaf, is that all the time is that seclude yourself from the dunya and imprison yourself here, and make sure that your heart and mind is actually immersed in Allah and connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep your tongue moist in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doing dhikr, tilawat, whatever ibadat you're doing, keep your heart and mind aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me. You know, many people, they say it's difficult, but now you're in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing you all the time, what you're doing. I'm talking to you on a one-to-one basis, individual basis, that forget about your friends. These are all different inhabitants now. These are our different colleagues here. Now, on a one-to-one basis, what we're saying is that imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now seeing me in this world here. How do I behave? How do I conduct? I don't have the distraction of TV. I don't have the distraction of phones. I don't have the distraction of work. Do I now remember Him? Do I now do ibadat of Him? Do I now remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Am I thankful to all the blessings that Allah has given? And so on and so on. Now think on this. So be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your mind. And of the heart, call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Call Him. One is Rabbana zalamna. That's words. You know how we make dua? Ya Allah, please forgive me. This is words after salah. Calling of the heart is really when you really need something, or you really want something, or you really want to actually express something, then the heart speaks. Let the heart speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You might be thinking, what do I do? How do I do that? You do that regularly, really. You just don't realize. When do you do it most? Is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts me and you in a musibah. When you think, I'm doomed, I'm destroyed. What's happened to me? Main barbaad hoon, that's it, I'm finished. That's when you say, Ya Allah, please help. There you go, Ya Allah. That's when the heart really speaks. So why do you want to wait for musibah to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Now you're in bliss. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever you want with the heart. And for that, how to actually connect and actually converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our session later on, after in the evening, after the Taraweeh, and when you've had your rest, at 1:15 we'll have a muraqabah dua with Shaykh Ahmad Tabaghi, inshallah, will actually tell us and teach us how to actually connect and do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the proper way, the methodology of connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and requesting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how to actually request in the proper way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's infinite treasures and powers that He has, that we can, how can we connect to that. So without really going into much detail, this is something that I want you to keep in mind throughout the whole 10 days, is connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, disconnect with the dunya. Be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through body, mind and heart. Converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your heart. Call out to Him. Feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while He's here. Conduct with one another in goodness. Speak gently. Be helpful. And inshallah Aziz, you'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with something you won't even imagine. So one more important thing I'll say with any house was that it is the case is that you're going to be at one another's faces for 10 days, 10 nights. Some people might snore, some people might be actually talking, some might be forbearing and forgive. We all have different weaknesses. Be forbearing and forgive, and try to stick to the administration. What they say is that, for example, sleep, try to sleep. If they tell you to wake up, wake up. If they tell you to do something, put something on the side, do that. If you follow the guidelines, inshallah, this will be really, truly a blissful Iteekaf. If you follow those guidelines. So without any further ado, inshallah, I think if there's anybody who would like to ask any question, you can do regarding what we mentioned. Otherwise, what we'll do is that we'll quickly demonstrate to you physically the boundaries, and then inshallah you can make yourself a way upstairs for your iftar and make preparation for dua, and then inshallah we'll actually open. What time do they open today? It's 26 here. Yes, put the yes, you can do it privately, inshallah. Yes, of course.
Shaukat, can you come up? Kamal from Oldham, can you come up? Now I'm going to show you the easiest way to understand where the boundary is. Come here. You see these people too? One of them is going, when you go to read to food upstairs, if you go this way, those, brother, Qamar is going to be standing at the wudu khana. So when you see him, this is the boundary you don't go in. One of the,
You can call me follower, but I'm just a wanderer in search of my lover. You can call me worshipper, you can call me follower, but I'm just a wanderer in search of my lover.